Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Today, we are undertaking a massive deep dive following the chronological roadmap laid out in Kenny Chesney's memoir. We're tracking his unexpected and honestly often hilarious journey, how a kid from a tiny Tennessee town managed to build one of the biggest stadium acts in music history.
And our mission here isn't just to recap events. We want to pull out those core moments, those surprising details that really shaped his artistic identity.
The why behind it all.
Exactly. We're looking for that direct line connecting his earliest experiences, right back to the beginning, to the music he makes today.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We have to go straight back to the start. Luttrell, Tennessee. I mean, it sounds less like a town and more like a metaphor.
It really was. We're talking 3.9 square miles. The population was what, around 900 people?
That's it.
That's it. So his whole world was just school, church, the park where he played ball. But what's fascinating is the tension he felt.
Between the small world and the big sky.
Yes. He talks about lying in the grass, staring up at the stars, and just feeling this curiosity rumbling. He knew those little roads had to lead somewhere huge.
And the music started right there, in that small space. At 3 years old, he gets a plastic guitar and a cheap microphone from Santa.
And he thought he'd won the Big Door Prize. Just the feeling of it in his hands. It was like the physical prelude to his entire career, even if he couldn't play a note.
And this all ties into family and faith. He spent a lot of time at the Cedar Ford Baptist Church.
Right, where the music was so central. He loved hymns like Just As I Am, because it gave him this sense of, unconditional acceptance, music as a safe space.
But then there's this great contrast with the other church his grandma took him to, the one in Snake Holler.
With a literal dirt floor.
Oh.
And a fire and brimstone preacher who terrified him.
But even there, music was the release valve. He tells this great story about how when they sang He Arose around Easter, his mom would just start giggling.
And it was contagious. It would just spread through the whole family. That's like his first lesson in music's power to just elevate the mood.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the moment where the idea of scale clicks in his head. His very first concert.
The Super Bowl of country music, he calls it.
On Thanksgiving, no less. Merle Haggard, George Jones, and Conway Twitty.
I mean, can you imagine? And he really keyed in on George Jones. He said his voice was so fierce it just went straight into all of us. Those guys became his musical DNA.
But the real game changer, the moment he understood the business of it all, was when he was, 10 or 11?
Yeah, and he saw the band Alabama land in a helicopter at the Redgate Field concert.
A helicopter.
A helicopter.
Yeah.
And he sees them jump out, the crowd just roars, and it's pure rock star theater. He quotes himself thinking, my God, this is the coolest thing ever.
That's the first glimpse of the future stadium show right there.
It is. It wasn't just about the songs anymore, it was about the spectacle, the community.
So, shifting gears a bit. From the mountains to the water, this is where that other key piece of the Chesney brand really takes hold.
That first family trip to Myrtle Beach, he says he could smell the ocean 10 miles before they even got there.
Yeah.
And that smell just instantly became the definition of happiness for him.
And it was deeply emotional, tied to his family.
Oh, completely. He remembers his mom, happy in her bikini, dancing by the pool to beach music, the Temptations, the Drifters.
So that's the blueprint.
That's the blueprint. Joy, water, sun, and this incredibly contagious music. The whole island aesthetic, it starts right there.
Before music fully took over, though, he was all about competition, sports.
Deep into it. Pee Wee football, Little League. It was all about the camaraderie, fighting for the team's name. That discipline definitely translated to touring later.
And it's in Little League where he meets Tim Holt, who ends up on his road crew years later.
See, those early bonds, they were already paving the way.
So the focus starts to shift around age 12 or 13. It's a trip to Graceland, of all things.
Right. He sees Elvis's guitar-shaped pool. But the real moment is when Joanne Wilson, his friend's stepmom, teaches him his first few chords. D, G, A, and E.
The magic chords.
The magic chords. And that sets him on the path to East Tennessee State University. He enrolls for a marketing degree, which is the funny part.
Oh, it's a great contradiction. He's there for marketing, but he drops music theory because he says it's harder than any chemistry class.
He was a doer. He wasn't interested in the theory, he wanted to play. So he joins the university's accredited bluegrass program.
Which was created by a guy named Jack Tottle, who becomes this huge mentor for him.
And that bluegrass education gave him this incredible, completely unexpected lesson.
Yeah.
They took a trip with the band to just outside Moscow.
And the bus breaks down.
Completely breaks down, stranded. And he learns two things. One, things go wrong, but they get fixed. And two, the music. It crossed every language barrier. It was this universal currency.
So after college, the grind begins for real. He moves to Nashville on January 13th, 1991. But first, he had to cut his teeth playing gigs.
At a place called Quarterback's DDQ, a total dive bar near campus.
And he described it as having no ventilation and no windows.
Zero.
Yeah.
He had to learn 4 hours of material just to fill the time. And he said he'd leave smelling like a walking ashtray. But that's where you learn endurance. That's the boot camp.
Once he gets to Nashville, he's on Lower Broadway, the turf as he calls it. Seedy, magical, all of it. And he's parking cars to make ends meet.
Just hustling. But he was smart about it. He got advice from Clint Bradley to make that first impression count when he went for a publishing deal.
So he walks into Eckhoff Rose, which was the place with its grand pink marble lobby. He looked the part.
And his songs delivered. He ends up in a writing session with the legendary Dean Dillon.
Who wrote all those George Strait hits.
Exactly. And Kenny's all nervous, clanking on his guitar, and Dean just looks at him and says he needs a minute for his brain to get down on your level.
Classic. Just to break the ice.
It worked. And that started a huge friendship. Soon after, he gets his record deal with Capricorn Records, and Dale Morris becomes his manager.
And Morris's philosophy was key. The slow build.
Crucial. He was constantly telling him that things that take time to build are the ones that last. That really defined the whole pace of his career.
Which meant opening for giants, like the George Jones and Tammy Wynette reunion tour.
Can you even imagine? He was just soaking it all up. And then he gets that amazing validation when George Jones's wife invites him to fly home on their private plane.
And Jones himself just says, "You're a good country singer, son."
The ultimate compliment from the possum? I mean, that's everything.
So that cements his traditional side. But after a couple of top 5 singles, he needed a jolt.
A big jolt.
Uh-huh.
And this is where the big risk comes in. Renee Bell plays him a song.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
That's the one. And Renee knew what it was. She told him this could either kill your career or blow it up.
It was such a gamble. Pure novelty, totally different from what he'd been doing.
But he took the risk. He knew it was infectious. And it paid off big time. That's the song that really made him break out from the pack.
And that fun, laid-back vibe gets anchored to a real place. He goes to St. John for a video shoot and just falls in love with it.
It becomes his escape. He makes friends there, people who, he says, didn't care what I did. That anonymity was the perfect balance to the Nashville machine.
And that freedom just opens the creative floodgates. It leads to the Be As You Are album.
With all those great story songs, like Sherry's Living in Paradise, he literally wrote it for a waitress who didn't believe he was a real songwriter.
So he came back and played her life story for her on the curb. Amazing.
And then there's Boston. A huge anthem now, but it came from just seeing a bartender in the islands who wore a Red Sox cap to hide her baby dreads. It's that tiny human detail that connects with millions.
So by 2002, the momentum is just massive. He launches his first headlining tour.
The No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems tour. And he poured all that early sports discipline into his performance. He was going to own that stage.
And he did, literally. He tells the story of opening night in West Palm Beach. He kicks his boot up on a monitor.
And tears his pants wide open.
He just laughs about it, saying he truly left it all on stage.
It just shows the kind of explosive energy he was bringing every single night.
And that energy builds until he's playing actual stadiums. The homecoming show at Neyland Stadium at UT must have been unbelievable.
He talks about hearing 61,000 people singing Young back to him. He said it sounded like a revival witness.
But the memoir is really honest about the cost of that momentum. By 2009, he was just done.
Completely spent. He says he was mentally, spiritually, physically empty. The machine had just hollowed him out.
And it all comes to a head on stage. He's singing Better as a Memory and just starts crying, can't finish the song.
The crowd has to sing it for him. And that was the breaking point. That's when he knew he had to take 2010 off. It was a career-saving, life-saving intervention.
It really was a rescue mission, and the rescue came in the form of a song.
Kwesi Beathard sent him The Boys of Fall. And Kenny knew instantly. He said it would save my creative life. It pulled him right back to his foundations: community, trust, football.
The video for that was a huge deal. He got Coach Sean Payton of the Saints to fly in during his own preseason.
Just to give that emotional locker room speech on one knee, that shows you the power of that song.
Then you've got these incredible collaborations. He seeks out Grace Potter for You and Tequila.
And the story is just insane.
Yeah.
She travels for 24 hours straight, no sleep, walks into the studio in this leopard print dress and just nails it.
That iconic ad-lib part.
The ooh, 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 2 takes. Just pure, raw talent meeting the perfect song.
And through all this chaos and fame, the book gives us this essential grounding element. His dogs.
Poncho and then Ruby, the rescued pit bull, they were his uncomplicated love.
He tells a hilarious story about Ruby herding 3 head of cattle in his yard.
A pit bull corralling cattle. I mean, it's amazing. And even after his relationship with Mary ended, they shared custody of the dogs. It's this beautiful, humanizing detail. And then the sad part, when Ruby passed, she did it right next to her best friend, Poncho.
That sense of connection, of helping, it just explodes after Hurricane Irma.
Right. He channels all that fear and anxiety into making the Songs for the Saints album. It was about healing. He even gets Ziggy Marley on the track, Love for Love City.
Which brings this whole journey, from Tiny Latrell to stadium icon to island advocate to its peak, the ultimate honor.
Joe Galante and Clint Hyam call a formal meeting. He has no idea what it's about, and they tell him he's been voted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
And his reaction is just total shock. He thought it was too soon.
But then he has this perfect modern reaction. He just says, I got in, and immediately pulls out his phone.
Goes full millennial, as he puts it, and makes them all take a celebratory selfie.
It's the perfect ending, right? It's that mix of respecting the tradition and living completely in the now. That's his whole brand.
So when you connect it all back to the beginning,
the lesson is clear. It's the 3-line from those small-town dreams through the smoky dive bar grind, all the way to realizing his mission wasn't just selling tickets. It was about bringing people together, just like he saw Alabama do with that helicopter all those years ago.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If you look back on your own journey, what's that one early moment, that one plastic guitar, or that one unexpected celebrity helicopter landing that felt small at the time, but truly set your entire course and shaped the brand you are today? Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.